Marshall's JCM800 is one of the most classic amps out there, but some guitarists think that the Silver Jubilee blows it out of the water. Let's find out why. I'm Steve. Thanks for tuning in and welcome to my studio. If you're into Marshall amps, then you're already familiar with Marshall's JCM800 and Silver Jubilee amps. Both introduced in the 1980s, the Jubilee can be seen as Marshall's answer to how guitarists were using the JCM800. Before I go any further, I'm talking about the single-channel 2203/2204 variant of the JCM800. These were the most widely used. I'm using the 20-watt Studio Classic version as I don't currently own a 2203 or 2204. The 2203 model, which basically became the JCM800, was itself Marshall's answer to how guitarists were feeling about the model 1959 and 1987 non-master volume amps. They sounded great, but you really had to crank them to get any kind of drive out of them. By adding an additional tube gain stage in the preamp, the 2203 is able to achieve some overdrive without having to crank the master. That said, though, they still sound much better fairly cranked. In 1987, to commemorate the 25th anniversary of Marshall's entry into the amp market, they released the Silver Jubilee model. Built upon the foundation of the JCM800, the Jubilee includes a few new features that, when used properly, propel the Jubilee into new territory. For starters, Marshall added some clipping diodes into the preamp section. As I understand it, there are 5 clipping diodes in the lead channel, 3 silicon and 2 LED. This gave the Jubilee the ability to get some fairly high gain at much lower volumes. The sweep of the master volume also seems to be a lot more gradual than it is on the 800. On the older Marshalls, 2 on the master volume is already pretty loud, and once you get past 5 or 6, you're not really adding any volume, you're just adding power amp drive. Now, on the Jubilee, 2 on the master isn't really loud at all. And while 6 is fairly loud, you've still got headroom all the way up to 8 or 9 on that master. And remember, this is still every bit of Marshall, so while you can get fairly good high gain sounds at low volume, it still sounds better when you get those power tubes cooking. Additionally, the Jubilee features a clean channel that stays fairly clean even when it's pushed. Clean channel, if you pull out on the preamp gain control, that'll give you a more classic Marshall type crunch. I really like how this mode sounds. Another big improvement with the Jubilee is in its tone stack. On the older Marshalls, once you had them cranked, those tone controls didn't do much at all. With the Jubilee, the tone controls are a lot more responsive, giving you finer control over your tone. And finally, the Jubilee features the ability to run at half power, allowing you to dial in some power tube drive at a slightly lower overall volume, making the Jubilee even more flexible. So what do you think? Did Marshall succeed in improving upon the JCM800 with the Jubilee? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.